Welcome to the Leading at the Next Level podcast with Dove Development and Consulting, the show built to provide ongoing support for your leadership journey. Now, before we move into today's lesson, let's make sure that we're on the same page. Cindy and I've seen firsthand how much more is required to provide authentic leadership to a team than to simply manage based on the authority that comes with a title or a position. What we've learned through more than 50 combined years of leadership responsibility is that taking the extra steps to serve people and earn influence will always produce results that barking orders never will. And if you'll stick with us to the end of the episode, we're going to share how you can get a complimentary trial to a resource that we've built that's like nothing else you've ever seen. Now, with that in mind, let's get to work. What we're going to do now is wrap up our look at how we can help you improve your profitability by building better leaders, by digging into specifically how we can pass on that internal knowledge. Here we go. As we looked at the cost of a poor promotion, I shared some stories with you about a few different rock star employees that I'd worked with over the years. One of them had been an assembly line lead for close to 4 decades, but absolutely refused to even consider taking the next step into a supervisory manager or management role. Another was as knowledgeable as anybody I'd ever known about every single piece of equipment in the department that he worked in, but he struggled mightily when he moved into a team lead role for that same department. Now, I realize both examples that I just shared, those are manufacturing environment examples, but I'm really willing to bet that you can picture similar examples in any industry that you're a part of. Now, a reality that we all face at some point in our leadership journey will be that not every outstanding performer on our teams will be interested in climbing that company ladder. And as hard as accepting that will be sometimes, our challenge then becomes helping them be the best they can right where they are and providing them with the tools that they're going to need to pass their expertise on to the team members coming on behind them. Now, while some folks may not have interest in chasing or even accepting promotions, that doesn't mean that they're not a critical part of our succession planning process. Now, let me be honest here. I still fancy myself as a pretty decent carpenter, and I could probably still teach you how to operate a 250-ton stamping press to make the blanks that get rolled up into tubes for the inside of a muffler. But Cindy and I have been extremely intentional about not even giving the perception that we're in the that we're the people to teach those necessary technical skills in any industry. And in many cases, you're going to have those experts in house that can do that as good or better, even if it's a trade that we are accomplished in. And even if that's not the case, even if you don't have them, I'm going to say it's going to be unlikely that I've got the time at this point in my life to be that technical expert that you need. What we have been able to do, though, is help the experts who are in the organizations we're working with become incredibly effective at passing on what they've worked so long to learn. There have been a few cases where those folks have been maybe supervisors or managers who've already completed our emerging leader development course. But the biggest need for this has really come from the folks who had no interest at all in those leadership roles, so to speak. Either way, our approach to developing effective trainers really combines much of what we provide to those leaders to communicate more effectively with the concepts that I detailed before for having tough conversations. And then we add a healthy dose of the necessary steps for earning influence and buy-in, so anybody receiving the training is actually willing to listen without having their lives threatened. Because we've all known the situation that I'm not listening to that guy unless I'm going to get fired otherwise. One of the things that we stress when we tailor this specific course for any company is that it's not the stereotypical approach to training trainers. We're not telling anybody how many times to show, do, or watch. We're providing them with the tools that they're going to need to pass the expertise they already have on to their peers in a way that increases their influence and captures the profitability that would otherwise be lost if they left the organization and took all that knowledge with them. And when we've needed to, we've added one more step to that process to make sure that we can truly apply, or they can truly apply, what they've learned. So, whether it's been through the customized approach to developing effective trainers that I just explained, or any of the other resources that Cindy and I have developed focused on helping leaders address the things that are killing their profitability in their businesses or their teams, we've always worked to help each participant identify the specific action steps that they can apply to achieve results that move their respective teams forward. Now, since the very first lesson that we wrote on our own, we've always wrapped up with a list of questions that we challenge folks to answer on their own, and we've challenged them to provide whoever that they report to those answers with hopes of driving the collaboration within their organization that produces not just immediate results, but increased performance for years to come. Now, quite honestly, we did this because I'd seen so many charlatans, and I use that word specifically, that called themselves a coach or a trainer or a consultant who worked harder at embedding themselves as a permanent line item in their client's budget, that my goal had been to provide the best possible tools, then get the heck out the way. And in a perfect world, I think that would have been all it took to help the teams that we were serving, realize ongoing return on investment year after year after year. But I've also learned that this most certainly is not a perfect world. When we put together the very first round of our Develop an Effective Trainer session, we provided it for a large organization. The plant manager that we were working with directly, he specifically requested that we provide several of his key team members with some type of ongoing support to be sure they actually implemented the tools that we provided to them, and they would have everything they would need to sustain their changed behaviors even when they encountered bumps along the way. Now, he said that not only did he not have the time to do it himself, he felt like they might be more open to expressing their concerns and issues with us since they didn't have that reporting relationship. And he was just as concerned about their immediate supervisors not having the time to help these trainers through the process. And he expressed the concern that that their lack of time may actually result in them kind of sticking with the status quo, or the current state, if you will, over the desired change. So at that point in time, we had already launched our strategic leadership coaching model with a few leaders in some very specific situations. But this was really the first time that we applied it for a whole group of folks within the same company, acting kind of as a designated extension of that local leadership team. Now, since seeing what that group of trainers in that one organization achieved, we realized just how important it can be for any organization to have an additional set of hands, so to speak, to support achieving a change that produced long-term results. So this strategic leadership coaching approach, it's really become an integral part of how we help anyone participate in, whether it's our executive leadership lead think tank, our impact leadership academy, fight through all their schedule demands to implement action steps that build stronger leadership cultures throughout their team. And we've also helped numerous students in our emerging leader and recruitment retention culture courses ensure that their action steps, the ones that they identify after each of the lessons, it becomes a part of their daily routine, and it captures measurable results for their organizations. Now, let's be honest, with all this, though, we can't truly consider an issue resolved unless we can track the results. The numbers aren't going to lie, but not nearly enough organizations track the impact any of these soft skills have on addressing the things that are killing their profitability. And that's how I want to close this all. I want to close the loop on all that with that idea right now. As we do that, I want to share this one last time. Organizations of all sizes invest significant amounts of time, money, and energy on improving their processes with hopes of becoming more profitable. Sometimes this is based on a goal of becoming best in class, but sometimes it's just to stay competitive with customers or in attracting talent. All too often, though, the things that can have the most immediate impact on profitability, as well as the lives and everyone involved, are overlooked or completely written off because those things are considered to be intangible. What are those things? You know where I'm going with this at this point. Those are the skills needed to build an organizational culture that produces world-class results and makes the best people in your respective industry beg to be a part of your team. Those skills tie back to the word that's frequently misused: leadership. Unfortunately, a large majority of the organizations in the world today will never capture all the profitability that they're truly capable of generating for one painful reason. They just won't take the necessary steps to track what they're losing, or even the profit that their best leaders capture when they do apply any of the steps that we've covered here. In my nearly 20 years with a large corporation, I was involved in countless continuous improvements events that started with the goal of achieving better results within a work cell or through an existing process. And while we always began with one of those events, each of those events with a stated goal, the actual return on investment didn't always match. And even when real improvements were made that increased productivity and it lowered costs, old habits die hard, meaning that some of the most tenured team members involved didn't always jump on board and follow the new approach. Complicating things even more was what seemed like a constant push to chase a new rabbit nearly every time we turned the page on the calendar, confirming that old reference that I've shared a few times here about it being the most important quarter in the history of the world. So we got to do this and this and this to really appease the stock market. For years, I've heard the saying that if you chase too many rabbits, you probably won't catch any. And that was far too often the case as way more of our time ended up being sucked up in recording data and filling out reports than we ever really had left over for doing the actual work. And that resulted in even more profitability being unnecessarily killed. Now, in addressing each of the things that I've seen kill profitability in so many organizations, my goal has not been for you to feel like you need to do everything at once. You and I both know that that's never going to be feasible. That said, I believe every single thing that we've covered in this process can have an immediate impact on its own. And I believe that all the things can have a compounding impact when you're able to tie them together. Now, I'm not going to pretend that any of it's going to be easy, but I know firsthand it's not hard. It's certainly not any harder than fighting through some of the things that we deal with when we're losing that productivity and that profitability. Now, possibly the most difficult part will be just in changing the metrics that we're tracking. You know, I'm confident that you're already tracking a bunch of measurables, most of which are likely critical to your business. I want to close this look at what's killing your profitability by challenge you to at least consider making a few tweaks to what you're tracking, or in many cases, just how you're tracking it, so you can realize a long-term return on the investments that you make into providing those skills for your team members. Now, I'm convinced that improving your profitability really does all boil down to leadership.
Thanks for listening to the Leading at the Next Level podcast. If you would like to go deeper into anything we've shared here, or you just need continuing education credits for your professional credential, send us an email at admin@dove-development.net, and we'd be happy to hook you up with a 45-day all-access trial to our complete Leading at the Next Level program at no cost. That full program, it includes access to well over 100 hours of digital lessons, complete with slides and action-based assessments to help you capture measurable bottom-line improvements in your organization, as well as 2 new live lessons each month with Q&A, so we can help work with you individually to identify the specific action you want to take to lead your team more effectively.